Your score goes down. Wait, but don't leave, because my score actually went up higher than before I canceled it. I know this can be confusing. Let me explain. Hey guys, Jake here, and in 2022, I canceled 2 of my oldest credit cards. At the time, I thought it was a really good idea, and it could be really confusing if you should cancel or keep your credit cards. Well, you see here, I was just tired of looking at my Discover card, and frequently I would check the app just to see if any random fraudulent charges would make it through, and maybe it would change from 0, but then something happened. One day I saw my Discover card had a negative 23-cent charge to it, and I thought that was really interesting. I thought this was weird. Discover was just randomly refunding me 23 cents. And then I thought, why do I even keep this card open anymore? And so I canceled it. So guys, I've noticed a general consensus in the credit card community where perhaps we are looking at this wrong. I want to invite you to think differently here. So instead of focusing on credit score and trying to achieve the highest one possible, I want you to think about this instead. How can I achieve more value with less effort? Instead of focusing on anything and everything to do with increasing your credit score, I want you to think about why you originally started using credit cards in the first place. Whether that is travel more, get cash back, build good spending habits, many people fixate on their score and lose touch with what is really important here. Keeping personal finance simple and easy to understand. With this mindset, we can finally get into the strategy and put this into practice. The very first thing that happens when you close your credit card is that it actually doesn't get removed from your credit report. Your credit score is calculated by these 5 factors that measure your general ability to manage debt and your behavior as a consumer. While all these factors do contribute to your score, we are gonna focus on credit history. Credit history is based on the length of time you've had your credit accounts open in your name. A longer credit history can help your credit score. Now it makes sense, right? If you close your credit card, you'll have a shorter average credit history, right? Well, while this may sound true, it is not. Guys, your credit report doesn't just vaporize when you close your credit card. It isn't just that easy. If you canceled a credit card, there's always going to be a paper trail of how you acted and what you did when you had that credit card. In fact, canceled cards actually stay on your credit report for 10 years if they're closed in good standing. And if you don't pay it off, it'll stay on there for 7 years, affecting you in bad standing. And guys, you should just pay off your credit cards if you're gonna go ahead and cancel. Taking a look at my credit report here, you can clearly see that I had canceled these 2 cards and that they're still on my credit report. When I canceled them, I was just watching that Experian average age of credit just to see if it would change, and in fact, it never did. So I do have student loans on my credit account, and they've been affecting my average age of credit for a long time, helping me out. These loans will stick around for 10 years, helping my credit out. Even if they're closed and I paid them off, they're gonna stick around for that time period. It's not very practical to keep loans open, so does it really make any practical sense to keep your credit cards open? Guys, personal finance is already so complicated. It doesn't need to be more complicated than it already is. Leading me to the second reason, which is convenience and practicality. Many people say that if you have an old credit card just lying around, you need to keep it active and in good standing by putting a charge on it every once in a while. So many people can barely manage their one credit card. Why do we need to do this for 5 or 10 or even 20 credit cards? Each credit card requires you not only to manage the physical card, but the apps that you use to pay the card, plus having all of these bank account connections to your checking account can present some more problems that I'll talk about later. Imagine if you got a random fraud charge from one of these credit cards just sitting around and you didn't see it in time, and now you have a missed payment. Well, this probably would get cleared up, but that just sounds like a headache to deal with. I believe that simplicity and practicality is far more important than trying to achieve the highest credit score possible. Personal finance should be easy so everybody can learn, and it doesn't need to be hard and complex. You won't do the hard things if they're just too hard. To that, I say, cut that card up. I will show you how minuscule of a difference it made when I closed my 2 credit cards, and it actually helped me out. I'll show you in just a sec. With all of these connections to your checking account, think about the risk associated with giving your account number and routing number to many different credit card companies. I never leave accounts that I don't use open because of the risks associated with presenting your banking, social security, and other personal data to many companies. Brian Jung even said himself he had his identity stolen. Guys, it is more common than you think and is really difficult to deal with. We're not really sure exactly what each company does with our data, but it does help to be preventative and make sure you just don't put it out there in the first place. Okay, so what actually happens when you cancel a credit card? Let's take a look. Here's a chart of my credit score for the last 4 years. When I canceled my oldest credit card, the State Farm Rewards Visa card in 2022, my credit score went from 766 to 763 the week I canceled the credit card, and the week after, it went all the way up to 767. That is 1 point higher than what it was before I canceled the card. That drop was for the utilization actually going down, guys. Since I canceled a card with a $1,000 credit line, my total line of credit, excluding student loans, was $35,500. So when I closed this card, it went down to $34,500. It isn't that much of a difference, hence why my credit score only dropped just a little bit. And then the same thing happened when I canceled my Discover card with a $2,000 limit. That dropped my total credit limit down to $32,500. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it really does not make a difference when you close your credit cards. In fact, it actually may help you out. Basically, utilization is one of those factors that affects your credit score, and it shows how much of your credit are you actually using. Let's say you have a $6,000 limit between 2 cards and you close one of those cards. Now you're gonna have a total credit limit of $3,000. Does that make sense? So if you had a balance of maybe $2,000 on one of those credit cards, your utilization would go from 33% to 50% when you close that credit card, and your score would drop like crazy. Guys, so as long as you don't have a huge revolving utilization, you're gonna be fine if you close credit cards. In fact, since my credit score wasn't even affected, I applied for the Venture X and got a $30,000 credit limit on that one, so it didn't really even matter. It just doesn't make sense to keep these old cards lying around. So while it may help your credit score just a little tiny bit to keep your old cards around, it's not significant enough, and it can present an even bigger risk to keep it open and just more of a pain to manage. Focusing time and energy into something that doesn't really give you much value, in my opinion, just isn't worth it, and I would much rather focus my time on growing something else or working on something better. I mean, if you use the card on an occasional basis and it might be something easy to keep, like another Chase card that just stays in your Chase account, then sure, it might be worth it to keep around. Any other random card, you might as well just cancel because it's just too much of a pain to manage and it presents too much risk. I want to show you that keeping your credit account simple and keeping everything easier in personal finance just makes way more sense. Now, if this video was valuable to you, I think you would enjoy this list of 5 mistakes credit card users make when just getting started. It is something I put together and I think you would totally enjoy and learn something from. Anyways, have a good day, everyone.